What if you could have one pack to both send and receive all your wireless signal? Your guitar, your mic can go one way and your IEMs can come back the other. Well, Sennheiser has just dropped something which makes that a reality. It may not be in your price range, but it shows good signs that in the future, this could be coming to you. So let's chat about it. So here we have it. It is the Sennheiser Spectera. It's a really cool unit. There's some really great, well thought out features in this unit. We will get to the price tag, I guess, in a minute. But it's pretty amazing. In essence, this single rack unit allows you to receive 32 channels of input and send back 16 channels of stereo IEMs. So that's 64 channels overall, kind of working in both directions, which is amazing in itself for such a tiny unit, because I'm sure loads of the pro guys have worked with those just racks and racks of wireless. It's not especially nice or flexible. So being able to pare this down to such a compact unit, this unit here just looks absolutely crazy. You know, what's that, a 2U with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 belt packs in it. So I'm going to guess you want another one of those. So you're talking about a 3U if you want it to full capability, which again is just absolutely bonkers to me. But I think the thing that's going to interest a lot of people, especially smaller musicians like me who work in functions and smaller bands, is this two-way sending and receiving. I think so many guitarists would just love to have one pack on them that they can send their guitar signal to the desk and receive all their IEM signal back all in one unit. And Sennheiser have kind of made it happen. It's this really compact unit. I have a feeling it uses RF level performance. So yeah, it's still using RF. So you're talking about really low latency, but it's just such a mad capable unit. I don't think I've ever seen anything so powerful in the terms of Wi-Fi, in terms of wireless, in such a small package. I know all the audio engineers have probably all bought this already, especially if they're running Dante. It can run Dante out the back of the unit, so it's just even more flexible, as if it couldn't be any more flexible. It just is so powerful. And I think you can run MADI as well. Yeah, optional MADI. So it kind of doesn't matter which ecosystem you're in, Dante or MADI, this will work well for you. The downside for most of us kind of muso guys is that it is rather expensive. You're talking about the base station being nearly £9,000, which is probably quite a bit more expensive than most of your PA systems. The receiver / sender, each one's about £1,700, and just the aerial is £1,300/1,400. It's probably more than what the majority of you are spending on your PA, maybe just in the aerial. Maybe the aerial is more than your two tops combined. So I don't necessarily think that you are going to be interested in this system as a musician who plays, because it's just way out of our price bracket. I think if you are obviously in professional PA, this is pretty great. You know, you're not going to find anything else with this capabilities on the market. So you kind of haven't got any option but to go for the Sennheiser set, even if it does cost you an arm and a leg. But you're used to spending a lot of money. I think if you're in professional PA, you're used to spending a huge amount of money. You know, some of those desks that you guys are using, some of those big PA systems, this is like a tiny amount of money. And by the time you've rented this out a few times, you've probably made a good chunk of that money back. And definitely in terms of functionality, especially if you're running you're having to buy a wireless to take the signal and a wireless to send it back, you've kind of way beat that in this. Obviously, it's going to cost more, but once you've got the receiver, I don't know, it probably could still work out. But that isn't really what I'm talking about in this video. In this video, what we're going to be talking about is how amazing this will be in the future. Because this is new tech for Sennheiser, but as we have seen in previous things, where Sennheiser leads the way for wireless, I think everyone else follows up behind, and everyone gets better and better and better. And no one has kind of shown that more than Xvive. Xvive started out with the U4, this standard unit, 2.4 gigahertz. Everyone I know that runs this unit absolutely loves it. Now, I know that a lot of pro guys are going to be slating this unit because it runs on 2.4 gigahertz. And Xvive have already sorted that out because they've made the Xvive U45. Now, this runs on 5.8 gigahertz, which is a far, far, far less crowded frequency range. I will say you tend to get less distance range out of 5.8 gigahertz. In reality, I think they say it's the same range on here. Yeah, so they say the range is 27.5 with the 2.4 and 30 with the 5.8. But my experience is actually 5.8 is a bit weaker at long range. Now, I don't know whether that's a situational thing for how I've used it, but it's just not as strong far away from the transmitter. Again, I don't know if that is just a me problem. Yeah, I might be running a lot of 5.8 and that might be an issue. I don't really know. But like I said, Xvive have catched up, and 5.8 is a far, far, far more reliable connection. And I think this IEM setup is an absolute steal at £229. This came out relatively recently, and they've kind of followed that up again with the U35, which is a wireless mic system. So the exact same thing, but the transmitter in the microphone to a receiver in the desk. And most recently with the U35C, which is a really nice addition in that it gives you a 48 volt phantom in the transmitter side. So where your microphone is, if you have a condenser, you can transmit 48 volts through to the desk. Not to the desk, to your microphone, which will send your signal to your desk. So if you are a condenser microphone user, there is finally an option for you in the pretty budget range, $229. Where I see this going is I don't think it would be too massive a leap for Xvive to kind of carry on the way of Sennheiser and incorporate these two together. I know people already using these two together, so I think if they made something just like the U45, but it allowed you to send your guitar signal and to receive, I mean, if it could receive stereo, the big downside for this at the minute is it just is mono. But imagine if this could receive stereo, one, or just receive mono, but also send mono back. I would pay 450, 500, maybe even £600 for that unit. I think that would be absolutely solid over 5.8 gigahertz. It would be this little tiny, these backpacks, if you haven't seen them, they are really small, but they are really solid. They're made of like solid steel or aluminium or something. They are really chunky little things. I think it would hold up really well for what I do, you know, like weddings, corporate stuff, or if you're just generally in a band in a pub, it'd hold up really well. You could have two receivers. You could have one that goes to your pedal board / amp and one that goes to the desk, say. I don't see it being a million miles away. I think that Xvive could quite easily in a couple years figure that out and have that on the market. And now Sennheiser have kind of set the bar. I feel like the guys at XVive are doing a really good job at meeting the bar. So for us budget guys, I fully see this probably being an option in the near future. And I think that is really what we need to focus on from this news of the Spectera. Although the Spectera is an amazing system, most of us guys aren't going to be using it. But in the future, someone, maybe not XVive, maybe someone else, will be generating a two-way system. Will it be stereo IEMs? Probably not. Let's face it, it more than likely isn't going to be stereo IEMs, but it could still work. So watch this space, check it out. If it comes out, I'll be sure to let you know. And if you want to know how I currently do my IEMs, because I do them wired, I talk about in this video here how I have a wire that both sends and receives audio. Ooh, it's like this, but old school with wires. See you later. Bye.